Hello, Jay. Lovely to talk to you.
Lovely to talk to you too, sir.
When we get a feature interview, a special guest on the program, we always like to sort of go back and find out more about where they came from, their childhood especially. What can you tell us about growing up, Jay Laga'aia?
Well, I grew up in a family of 9 in South Auckland, aspiring to represent the country in the traditional all black colours, and really, realizing earlier on in my career, in my sporting career, that I sucked, and that I wasn't as good as I thought I was. But also realizing that playing the guitar in the team bus was something that everybody tended to look forward to more than anything else. So I sort of fell into the entertainment industry in about I think it was 81, 82.
Aside from pulling on the All Blacks jumper and being an entertainer, what was Plan B? What do you think you might have done if? Because I mean, it is a risky move to decide you want to be an entertainer, isn't it?
Well, look, plan. I mean, you can always want to be an entertainer because that's a poor man's option. You don't need too much. You just need to, I call it entertainment. My parents called it showing off. So there was a difference really there, right from the get go. Plan B was there was really no Plan B. Plan B was see what else sort of came up. I worked as a council worker, a youth detached worker, teaching young street kids in those days how to play musical instruments and those things. In those days were 6-month schemes that the government used to come up with, and then they would find money to do another 6-month scheme or something else. So I was very much marking time, waiting for the ethos to make up its mind as to what I was going to do. So from my point of view, it was very much about seeing what came my way, and I happened to answer an ad in the paper that were basically looking for bodies at the theatre. They were looking for cast members. They were doing Sweet Charity, and I sang a bit, but I had no idea what I was getting myself into. I went to what was then the premier theatre in Auckland called the Mercury Theatre, and I came across some of the most amazing actors, and that was just in the rehearsal room, and I was smitten by the whole bug, and so decided that I wanted to be an actor, and in doing so the idea was to steal everybody's idea and try and make it my own. And I realized also very quickly that it doesn't work that way. But along the way, it was some of the best education I ever had, and it's kept me in good stead ever since.
Jay, what was more daunting? Was it a live audience or taking on some fellow rugby forwards?
Look, I think always a live audience is always daunting with a football field full of players. You have a team that's always behind you. But I've done two-hander South African plays where one person turned up. So I realized really quickly, as a fellow actor once told me, that is part of the walking the walk phrase when people say you have to walk the walk. So for me, it is very daunting to be able to perform. Not so much now, because now you realize that the essence of a true performer is to be prepared, and as we all know, 95% of our work is unpaid because it's about rehearsals. It's about doing other things that will enable us to be better orators, better performers, better entertainers as such. And I mean, I think that if you can't entertain a 3-year-old, there's no way you're going to be able to communicate to a 30-year-old. So hence the reason why my love for play school and my albums as such reflect that.
Yeah, looking forward to talking to you about Play School and the album very, very soon, because it's a fascinating side of you. Jay, how did you end up in Australia? Was it the career or was it personal reasons?
No, I auditioned for a role on Water Rats, and in those days, so that was 94, I'd just come off Harry M. Miller's Jesus Christ Superstar, and I played Judas. And the opportunity came up to audition for it, and they said, look, it's a 3-year contract, you'll have to go to Sydney, and I auditioned for it in New Zealand, and for us, it's just like, it's an audition. We don't listen to anything else past that. 3-year contract, had to go and live in Australia. Well, I didn't hear that. And then all of a sudden, you got the gig. Great. They want to know when you will be able to move. Was move to, I had just been married 3 years, and all of a sudden I had to move to another country, and so it was a daunting task. But I got taken under the wing of people like Colin Friels and Catherine McClements, and I really enjoyed my time on RAT. So I spent 4 years on there leading up to the Olympic Games. And driving the Nemesis, our boat around the harbour, was just one of the joys of being able to work in the city, and is still very much one of my best moments in my career.
You certainly became a regular on our TV screens, and then you made the jump into movies with a couple of Star Wars movies, the Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. What was the Star Wars experience like?
Well, I've always been a fan. Growing up in South Auckland, I mean, those were the times when movies were still in the theaters for 6 months, and so my brothers and I would collect refundable bottles and convince my mother that we could, we would look after ourselves. We caught the bus into town, which was a big thing. Went down to the Civic Theatre, which was this beautiful ornamented theatre down in Auckland City that had a Wurlitzer that would come out through the floor, and we sat down and we watched this movie. And for me, it was life-changing, because the possibility that there was a life outside, not so much in another galaxy, but in other countries, in other places, made you want to be a hero somewhere, made you want to step up with a lightsaber and save the world. And so, that possibility was always in my head. And you must remember that those were the times when Nadia Comaneci was scoring tens, at the Olympic Games as well. And so I was very influenced by it. And then when in '99, when Phantom Menace came out, I took my children along to see the opening. I was invited to the opening and saw it, and once again just fell in love with the whole genre again, not knowing that a year and a half later, I'd be cast. And when I got cast in the role of Captain Typho, who my job was to look after Natalie Portman's character, Senator Amidala, I rang my brothers and then said, guess what? I've got a gig on Star Wars. And there was a pause, and my brothers went, Is that like a television show or a musical or something? Because it's just like I've just become the president of the United States. That's what I said, and then I went, no, Star Wars. R2D2, C3PO. The Wookiees. And there was a pause again, and then my brothers went, how the hell did you get a gig on Star Wars? And then another pause, and I went, can you get me a gig on Star Wars? And I felt like that last immigrant who got to the country. It was just like, quick, close the door, don't let anybody else in. So it was, for me, a great experience to be able to walk around and see all of these childhood heroes come to life in front of my eyes, and I was like a kid in a candy store, really.
I guess it now means that wherever you go in the world, you're going to be recognised as well as, and it would open up a huge fame issue. I mean, you're really, you're going to be remembered forever, because those Star Wars movies will never die, will they?
Well, I mean, I've just recently come back from 2 weeks ago. I came back from Orlando, where I hosted the 30th anniversary of Empire Strikes Back. On my stage, which is I run a talk show. This is the third time I've done it in the last 7 years, and I run a talk show. And on my stage, we had Jon Stewart, the satirist, and George Lucas doing an interview, and then I interviewed Carrie Fisher and Mark Hamill, and for me it was you asked them about their lives and that, but you're really interested in how do they cope with being the savior of the universe, of being the catalyst for test pilots. We had an astronaut come down from NASA saying that they saw Star Wars and they wanted to be an astronaut, and you think, well, that's pretty twee. It's pretty, stocks. A lot of people would say that, but actually, these people, really meant it and went out and it came to fruition. And so from our point of view, it was always, look, I'm a boy who grew up in South Auckland, which is basically the Tatooine of the world. And now here I am sitting with Luke Skywalker and Princess Leia. So, dreams can come true.
Yeah, no, it's a wonderful story. It really is. Jay, I guess the message that your career, I guess, says to me is that you need to be adaptable. You need to be versatile if you're going to be in the entertainment world. And I guess going from Star Wars and Water Rats and TV to Play School, how did all that come about?
Well, in '99, I was asked if I would be interested because of my family interested in auditioning. They didn't ask me to come; they asked me to audition for Play School, and so I went along and did what I normally do with my children, and they welcomed me in. And it was interesting. My first show was with Deborah Mailman. And I said, oh, geez, they're going to have to really turn the lights up on us, aren't they? We're known in the industry as low luminance. And she just laughed, but she was fantastic. She just looked after me. And that's where my love of performing, because I think my motto is that there's a possibility in everything. Everything is any bad situation is a situation that you can turn around. And for me, Play School has taught me to play, and in doing so, it's made me a better communicator, I hope. And I'm really privileged because I could take my children to the pools for swimming, and I end up having to do, the Scarecrow song in the children's paddling pool because there's like 5 kids who turn up and go, can you do the Scarecrow song and the dinosaur stomps? And I go, where's your parents? And your mothers and that are sitting around the sides waving. So we end up doing the dinosaur stomps in the middle of the pool. It's hilarious.
You'd probably have to carry around some toilet rolls and pipe cleaners and things like that to quickly whip up a rocket or something.
The lovely thing about Play School is very much about it. It is about empowering parents. The toys that we make out of pipe cleaners and toilet rolls and that are things that you can make at home. The idea of Play School is not that you have to go out and get a shiny battery-operated torch, or that you have to wear this special shirt of, or buy these CDs. The idea of Play School is about, self-empowering, that you can create a butterfly out of toilet rolls and newspaper, just like ours, and the idea is that, it's to spend time with your children. It's about being able to communicate to your children on that kind of level. And we've been going 44 years now, and we don't look like we're ever going to stop, and I hope that I can be part of that.
Jay, I was just watching Play School the other day with my little ones, and I was thinking to myself, how much of it is actually pre-scripted? How much planning and rehearsal do you do for each show?
Well, it's all basically scripted. The problem is that we tend to use the script as a guide. Like, for example, if I'm doing what we call a make, if I'm creating things in front of me, they will give me an idea as to what I'm doing, and then I just go off the script and basically talk about what I'm doing, and they know that these are the shots that they have to collect. It is still very much about memorizing 10 minutes of scripts each per section, which can be difficult, especially when you're doing a jumping song and then you have to do another song. So, and I suppose that's the reason why they're so used to you singing, and they also allow you to release all these albums and stuff as well. So Justine Clark and myself included.
Good on you, Jay. It's been lovely talking to you. All the best with the album.
Thank you very much, and may the force be with you.